Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you a full breakdown of how I run my Google Ads agency, so you really understand what it is I do and why I've gone down this direction to sharing this journey, because I get to work at some really cool stuff and I don't really share it on this channel. It's just been Google Ads, Google Ads, Google Ads, and I'm excited to share this with you. So this isn't going to be like deep hardcore theory. It's not going to be exactly what you think, but it's going to be how do I actually do it and make it profitable and also enjoyable and something that works around my lifestyle, not me chasing this business and working my absolute, ass off to keep people happy and try and make everyone happy. It just doesn't work. So I'm going to show you my business model of how it actually is based around my lifestyle, not the other way around. And I'm going to show you, the entire thing. So how I get clients, how do I keep them happy, and everything in between. So let's get into it, guys. I'm going to screen share a document. These videos will get better. It's just very early days and I'm just trying to get back into the habit. So I'll jump across and we'll do the screen share. Okay, so now we're into the document. I want to lay the foundation of exactly how this business works. So before we dive into the specifics of exactly what I do, here's what makes my model a little bit different to a lot of other agencies, freelancer businesses out there. So I really only do Google Ads and only for e-commerce stores. I've deviated from this rule sometimes, and earlier on I didn't do this. And the reason I do it now is there's multiple, which we'll cover off shortly, but it allows me to become an expert basically, and it's much easier to get referral work. I like working with fewer clients and better clients. And when I say better, there's lots of good businesses out there. But if I can put my time and energy into helping a business that is doing well do even better, that's awesome. And if I enjoy working with them, that's great too, because you need to enjoy the people you're working with. So everyone has different needs. I'm not for everyone, but I have a good idea of who I should work with and who I shouldn't. The next bit is everything is kind of systematized as much as possible. I'm not great at systems, but I'm good at simplification. So I think my system is actually keeping things simple so that there isn't a need for a complex system. That's my system. And works back into, if I'm just working with Google Ads for e-commerce stores, it's much easier to build a simple system with that. I mean, this probably should have been number one, but I prioritize lifestyle over endless growth and scaling. I don't subscribe to this hustle culture. I think it's unhealthy for the most part. And even most people that are hustling, they're probably focusing on the completely wrong stuff, 99% of them. And most of them would be better off taking a break, having a good think about what they're doing, and rather than running all the time, having a good direction and having a healthy lifestyle that's, I don't like saying balance, because sometimes you need to work more than other times, and other times you need to relax more than working. So it's all about working out what your lifestyle is, which I will discuss in a later video. Actually, the newsletter that's about to come out that I just wrote kind of ties in how to come up with your ideal lifestyle, but this is going to be unique to you. But I prioritize lifestyle over endless growth. No big team, no complex hierarchy or lots of software. I keep things very, very lean, very, very simple. And my preference is contractors to do stuff that I don't want to do or don't feel the need to based on expertise. But I try to do as much as possible with myself and my wife where I can, because it prioritizes, this business model also prioritizes profit over revenue, because it's much, much easier to be profitable in this as a very lean operator, particularly with where things are going. So let me break down each one of these things that I just discussed. So the first pillar is this here. It's this in-demand skill. What does that mean? A skill that's in demand. It means it's something, we're solving a particular problem through our skills that's, one, valuable or as big as possible. Plenty of people want it, and this one's not that important, because if it's a big problem and there's not that many people, you'll probably still do well. If it's a medium problem and a medium amount of people, you will still do well. The world is very big, and even within small cities, there's lots of problems in this space, and there's lots of, you'd be surprised how many e-commerce businesses are even in a city as small as the Gold Coast in Australia. So this in-demand skill that I've focused on has been Google Ads for e-commerce businesses. Now, it's very clear who I serve and what I do, And the Google Ads is not exactly what I do. I've tended to focus on those that want to scale profitably. So people that are actively, they've got their ads running and they want to hammer them hard and grow. That's where I've specialized, particularly like all the way through the start. I specialized in this because I came from an e-commerce and product background. But particularly during sort of the COVID pandemic, the e-commerce just exploded and it was much, much easier for me to grow as a business taking this route versus lead gen. Google Ads are very quick and very quick to learn in my view. They're easy to maintain once you know it. It's very simple, the system I use, and I've actually got a video coming very shortly on the system I would use if I was a business owner or an agency implementing an account. And I find that the simpler you are, the better results you'll get, because a lot of the content out there around Google Ads vastly overcomplicates it, particularly for e-commerce, because e-commerce is like, we want to get a sale, we do not need to overcomplicate it. And most of these tactics people run, they don't actually test whether or not they're incremental in any way, shape or form. They just go, oh, it got a good ROAS, it made sales, it did well. Well, hold on, what if you hadn't done that and put that money to what you were doing originally, let Google do its thing, set things up properly, and then follow a simple process? Would that have had a very similar result? Would it have had a better or worse result? A lot of the time I've found that the strategy I use outperforms a lot of these complicated strategies, and it's just what I've seen. I know a lot of people will probably disagree, but that's what I've seen. And I think the more complicated you get, the more you touch it, the worse results you get. Google Ads have really high buyer intent. There's a clear ROI, and the reason I like that is because we're getting people actual sales, not leads, which are more valuable, right? That's been a key thing of why I focused on e-commerce. Is it's fairly clear, even though tracking is very average these days in platform, it's very clear whether or not they've had a positive or negative impact or neutral. So, and then you can show a client and go, hey, we made you X amount of money. And it's much easier to charge, which we'll get more on charging later, scalable pricing that's based on performance. And it keeps clients for longer too. I found lead gen clients, you cycle through a lot more because you get a slow month, they don't get many leads, and then they're like, well, we're changing agencies. I've found there's less competition with Google Ads too. So many people specialize in Facebook ads. I'm not saying there's no Google Ads agencies, but what I'm saying is if you're an easy person to work with, you do a good job, there's very little competition. There's plenty of people that are good. I'm not saying there isn't, but I've just found it's less competitive than, say, Meta ads. I found it a more stable platform, and you don't need lots of creative. This is why I've focused on it. Now, why have I then focused on e-commerce businesses? Well, other than it's a niche within a niche, so it's much easier to be a specialist. Stores, e-commerce stores need paid traffic to survive. There's very, very few that rely solely on organic. So it's a need, not a want. So as I said, sales are more valuable than leads, so it's easier to have premium pricing. The process is virtually the same for all stores. There are some minor nuances and differences depending on certain categories, but for the most part, we're talking like 80-90% is very, very similar. So it's very easy and quick for you to make a process to not copy paste it, but you know what you need to do, and as long as you stick to it, it'll work. It's still a growing industry, so it's not something in decline. It's not growing as fast as it was, but it's still growing. And I've found much higher client retention because, well, as long as you get them results, you do a good job, and you communicate well and a very easy person and a delight to work with, then they'll stick around. There's no need for them to change. Also, e-commerce business owners have a very in-depth knowledge of the ad platforms, I find, because most of the time they start off running them themselves and then they want someone better or to free themselves up to do other things. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is client acquisition. How exactly do I get clients? So a lot of it has been personal branding, really focused on content via YouTube. And that's kind of carried me through, even though I haven't been very consistent over the last, say, 2 years. A lot of the videos I did many, many years ago still bring me clients is the funny thing. I don't even have a very big channel. So it's just, what I'm telling you is that content is very, very powerful in personal branding, and you don't even need to be that great at it, particularly if you do it at like a micro level. Like if you build a personal brand in your own city, boost those posts, something as simple as that, and become in the face of everyone and the go-to person for whatever it is you're doing, it's quite easy to do. With very, very little money. All you need really is an iPhone or a camera, and upload it, put some money on the ads, and you'll do well. And if you keep doing a mix of organic and paid there, then there's no reason why you can't have, you know, $1 million a year business, no joke, virtually in almost any city size, as long as you get people results. That's the key thing, in demand and results. It all feeds into each other. So the other thing that I do other than content and branding, and the content and branding, you know, one, it gives you like this authority figure kind of title as well. People see you, builds a relationship with them. The other thing I like is strategic partnerships, which is something I'm working on a lot more. I had like very informal ones, and I'd get a lot of referrals talking about the referral network. Strategic partnerships and referral network, they kind of go hand in hand together. And it'd be as simple as, you know, if you ran Facebook ads or Google ads, you'd go to someone that runs, say, SEO, and then build a network with them that are in agreement that you will give them 20% recurring for any client they refer you, right? That's a referral network, a strategic partnership, a referral, a referrer, whatever you want to call it. Word of mouth is another really, really big one, and all of these kind of make a flywheel, right? So if you get someone from content, then you get word of mouth. If you have a referral network, your best referrers are going to be your existing clients and people you know. Like, people don't tap into that network at all. And you know, just tell people what you do. Like, most people don't even tell people. It's almost like they keep it a secret what it is they do. So if you can tell people, people will find you. And if you stick, the other bit that's kind of, I should have had in here is the longer you stick to it, the more powerful all of this stuff becomes. You don't even need to be that great at it, and you can do very, very well. As I said, building a better referral network is a big focus of mine this year, because it creates leverage. Through one person, you might get 10 clients, right? You can refer them work as well, and it's a win-win. No one loses in that at all. On client acquisition though, what helps my client acquisition is I have very clear revenue requirements. So I don't tend to work with very, very small operators unless I see some great potential. And normally it's like, I'd say probably the minimum these days is around 50K per month in total sales. If they're not doing that, it becomes very hard for them to afford my service, right? And it's very hard for me to make them any profit, because they're probably not gonna have enough money to invest in ads. And so it's very, very hard for anyone to win in that. And if it's not a win-win, it's not a win for me, it's not a win for them. I don't want to take any part in it. So they really want to be making steady sales already, unless the product has like amazing potential and they've got a good track record. Maybe I'd consider it, but most of the time it's a no. Good product margins is a key one too, because they don't, it's going to be very hard to advertise. I want someone that's going to value expertise over price. And if someone's very, very price conscious, I'm probably not going to be the cheapest. I'm not going to be the most expensive either. I'm very, very reasonable for the service I deliver, I believe. And I'm looking for someone that wants a long-term partnership, because like, even if you make a good amount of money over 2 or 3 months, like, you really need clients to stick around for years to really make money and have a stable business. Because if you don't keep clients, which will be further down on how do we keep clients, you're then just going to become a sales-based business. Client results are going to get worse. Everything's going to get worse. So you really need to focus on building long-term relationships, and that's about being easy to work with, getting results. I think they're the two key things. Pillar 3 is service delivery. So the system in a nutshell is you really want standardized onboarding. I use Go High Level for this, and I keep it as simple as possible. I've got a nice optimization schedule that I stick to, and I've got a lot of videos on this, on what I do to optimize accounts. I've got clear communication protocols. I don't tend to find that I need to over communicate with a lot of my clients these days, because they can kind of, e-commerce business owners for the most part, they check their sales all the time. So they know if things are going well or not. And only if things are going really poorly does it need to be communicated. And no one really cares when things are going really well. They really only contact you when things are going poorly, but I still have clear communication protocols there in place. I like to have documented procedures, which is again something that I spent a lot of last year doing. Performance tracking, both my internal metrics and for clients, and then a regular reporting schedule. It's really monthly for most people, for me, and I keep it simple. So the 4th pillar, which feeds into all of this, is client retention. I don't think this business model works if you're burning through clients quickly. Client retention, I find a big part of it is performance-based pricing where I can. Not all my clients are on performance-based pricing, but where it makes sense and I can easily track it and add value, I tend to do it. It's a win-win. I find that it's been a key thing for me doing well and for my clients doing well, because if performance isn't good, they're not paying that much. If performance is good, they're paying more and they can afford to. Regular business strategy updates. So if any key things happening, I make sure I let people know. I still do some face-to-face meetings with clients on the Gold Coast. I like it. You don't have to, obviously, but again, build it around your lifestyle. I like getting out and talking to people. Not all the time, but I do like to do it at least once a month with my key clients. And then I try to be proactive when things are happening. I don't want to over-communicate either, because these are busy people. You don't want to over-communicate, but you want to build a strong relationship. And if you're not good at this, you need to focus more on results, right? So I'm a mixture. I get good results. There's probably people that are better than me out there, but I get good enough results and I'm a good enough communicator that people will stick with me because I fill them with trust. And look, I want them to do well, and I understand if they don't, I'm not going to do well. I set very clear expectations from the start though, and then I tell them, this is how I work. I'm not for everyone. This is how everything works, and do you want to have build a partnership together? And then everything I do, I build it for the long term, and I'm forward thinking. So client retention is a very, very important pillar of this business. Pillar 5 is business operations, how it all runs. So very minimal software stack. I mainly rely on Go High Level. I've got a few other bits and pieces, but that's the main piece of software that handles, landing pages, lead magnets, emails, the onboarding. It's a CRM as well. And it has a lot of automations in place too. I'm definitely using AI more and scripts to automate a lot of Google ads. I've enrolled in Mike Rhodes' course to improve this year on that. But a lot of it is about setting clear boundaries and focusing on really high impact activities. So what is the stuff that will actually move the needle? For me, making a YouTube video can actually move the needle in a big way. It's a very leveraged activity. It doesn't take that long, and thousands of people can see it. But having clear client boundaries in place as well will keep you kind of, building onto the core concept of this, it needs to fit your lifestyle, and you don't want to be stressed out all the time, because you will not grow if you're stressed out at some point. You'll hit a ceiling and you'll get burnt out. I've done it probably 2 or 3 times, and it's just much easier to live a nice, simple, peaceful life with those clear boundaries. So all of these pillars will need their own video, and I will go deeper into all this stuff, but the core concept of all this is integrating it into your lifestyle, making it sustainable, okay? So the business is gonna be built around your desired lifestyle. I can't tell you what that is, you need to work that out. We're gonna focus on profit over revenue. Any profits we make after we pay ourselves and our living expenses, we wanna invest those into income producing and appreciating assets. And I'll share a bit about how I do that. I've also got to be careful because I'm not an investment manager or any financial professional. We want a work-life balance. And when I say balance, it depends on what you want and what you need. And in different phases of life, the balance can swing one way or the other. But I'm very big on energy management. And that's just the feeling of when you feel you're doing something and it's draining and you don't want to do it, you need to decipher between whether you're just nervous or if it's like genuinely not something for you. And for me, it's like, I don't want staff or lots of people that I need to talk to about things. I like keeping things very, very simple. I just don't want a massive business. That's just me. It doesn't give me energy to do that. Continuous improvement, but I do have this bug of I've constantly got to be doing better. So I'm just focusing on how can I use maximum leverage to improve what I'm doing or change direction. As you can see, I'm kind of going, okay, I want to move a little bit. I've got Google Ads, but I want to keep myself excited, build my energy and improve, build a bigger personal brand. Again, no unnecessary hires. That's a big thing for me. Just really think about it, because one, good professionals are expensive. That's going to come straight out of your profit. So unless you've got like a really big lead gen system getting you a lot of leads all the time, it's probably not going to work. And that's really in a nutshell, guys. So the key takeaways of this are specialization is crucial for me, I believe. Now, things will probably get broader with AI and you can start offering more services, but if you don't specialize, how are you gonna get referrals? All of this system won't work. What content are you gonna do? It's gonna be too random. Systems make this scalable, and simplicity. So I should put systems and simplicity because I'm more focused on the simpleness versus systems. Relationships matter most in all this, especially with where the world is heading with AI. Boundaries create freedom. So that's a big one. Yeah? If you put boundaries in place, you'll be freer to get them better results. So think of it like that. And simplicity creates profitability, I believe. Hey guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you want to learn more about how I build a lean, profitable agency, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Got lots of new content coming. Also, I'm going to leave a link below to my newsletter where I share weekly content about running an agency, also some Google Ads content there as well. And it's all centered around an agency or a business that serves your life and not consume it, right? So we want a business built around our ideal lifestyle. Make sure you drop a comment below about your biggest questions about how I run a lean agency or any problems you're encountering in your agency or business. And I read all of these, so make sure you leave them. I'll respond to you. Thanks so much. See you in the next one.